Nebraska's Great Plains landscape is an endless spread of prairie and sandhills, holding one of America's most extreme portraits of demographic emptiness. Behind the calm of this farming region, dozens of small towns are trapped in cycles of deindustrialization, natural disasters, and deadly geographic isolation. From ammunition plant ruins rising from dry plains, boarded wooden shops along silent tracks, to places with only one resident left, the evidence is clear. Yes, this is an in-depth look at 15 small Nebraska towns now fading toward physical and social extinction. In remote Boyd County, Monowi holds a legendary reputation worldwide as the ultimate symbol of America's demographic death. This farming settlement, founded in the early 20th century, once had hundreds of residents before agricultural modernization pushed young generations away. Today, Monowi is officially the only incorporated town in the United States with just one resident left, an elderly woman named Elsie Eiler, who serves as mayor, clerk, and owner of the local tavern. Monowi presents an atmosphere of strange, oppressive silence. Along its quiet dirt roads stand rows of old wooden houses, empty and open, with roofs caving in and chest-high weeds surrounding them. An abandoned old church stands stiffly with its door chained shut, while the fierce Great Plains wind keeps blowing dust between these dead structures. From the extreme silence of a one-person town, the journey moves into the sandhills of Blaine County, where the small town of Dunning slowly declines. Isolated in the dry, empty sandhills, this town once grew as a busy cattle shipping point. The loss of its local station through modern logistics efficiency sent its economy to the bottom, causing the population to fall below 100. Life here moves slowly and quietly, giving off a heavy gloom. Its downtown shows rows of early 20th century commercial buildings with windows sealed by wooden boards, beside cracked asphalt streets overtaken by weeds. The lack of access to modern medical facilities and few active businesses create deep social isolation, making Dunning a clear image of fading traditional ranching communities in rural Nebraska. Leaving Dunning's silence, we enter far western Sheridan County to visit the eerie industrial ruins of the ghost town Antioch. Today, it is a raw, haunting, post-apocalyptic scene. Across dry, windy prairie, massive, reinforced concrete foundations from former potash plants rise like the ruins of an ancient, destroyed fortress. Born almost instantly during World War I, Antioch once held the grand title Potash Capital of America, with 5 giant plants operating 24 hours a day, extracting potassium from nearby salt lakes for wartime explosives. This sudden prosperity collapsed within months after the war ended, and international markets fell apart, forcing thousands of workers to leave almost overnight. From the frozen ruins, the journey turns toward the Custer County corridor to observe the fading pulse of life in Anselmo. Along its main street, we find a worn and exhausted rural-urban landscape. Rows of old 2-story red brick storefronts stand stiffly, their paint bleached pale by the sun, revealing empty interiors thick with dust behind cracked window glass. Although a small amount of activity remains from a handful of elderly residents who stay behind, Anselmo gives off the heavy gloom of a small town counting down its final years. Founded in the late 19th century along the Burlington and Missouri River Railroad, Anselmo once enjoyed stability as an agricultural trade center filled with the movement of local farmers. The combined blow of the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl triggered a long economic decline that caused the town's population to shrink drastically. Moving far south toward the edge of Franklin County, we find Riverton, a farming settlement locked in structural poverty. Located near the Republican River, it was once a promising agricultural community with its own wheat milling operations. But today, it has lost its social cohesion, pushing it into severe shrinking town status. Riverton's current face is troubling. Rows of wooden homes from the early last century have been left to rot without renovation, with roof structures beginning to bend under the strain of harsh winter weather. Quiet neighborhood streets with almost no social interaction create the impression of a wide ghost town. Next is Minitare, a town showing another side of small-town gloom. Unlike a pure ghost town, it still has around 700 residents, yet it belongs on this list because it carries a very visible economic and social crisis. Minitare consistently records local poverty rates above the regional average for western Nebraska. The historic district of Minitare presents a worn and oppressive scene. Many downtown commercial buildings are abandoned, with faded retro signs, while several areas, including churches, appear poorly maintained. The local government's financial crisis directly affects infrastructure maintenance, leaving the city's asphalt roads badly cracked and deepening the atmosphere of long-term economic depression that shadows daily life. Leaving Minitare's urban pressure, we enter one of the most geographically isolated areas in the entire Great Plains, where Tryon stands in McPherson County. Yes, Tryon holds a unique status as the county seat of a county that has no large incorporated town at all. Buried deep in the silent Sandhills, Tryon sits dozens of miles from interstate highways and the nearest modern healthcare center. Its condition reflects a pioneer settlement cut off from the modern outside world. Natural phenomena are also common here, including lunar eclipses, supercells, and blowing dust. In this place, social interaction feels extremely limited and locked inside a massive natural enclosure. A small stone courthouse stands beside several isolated wooden homes under a wide open sky. Tryon's isolation turns into total physical extinction as we drive to the northern edge of Keystone County, where the ghost town of Brockburg once stood. Founded in the late 19th century near the South Dakota border, Brockburg was once a rural trading post that supplied basic needs for remote cattle ranchers. Its death came quickly after the main transportation route shifted elsewhere, instantly cutting the town off from regional trade. Today, Brockburg has been completely leveled, its area shrinking back into a quiet stretch of open prairie. Modern explorers who reach this remote site are met only by a few collapsed remains of rotting wooden cabins surrounded by thorny brush and chest-high weeds. The silence in Brockburg feels deeply chilling because almost no trace of human life remains. From Brockburg, the journey moves toward the Morrill County corridor in the west to witness the decline of the railroad town of Broadwater. Born during the golden age of mass transportation expansion, Broadwater once prospered along the Union Pacific Railroad line. But today, Broadwater shows the face of a worn and abandoned farming manufacturing town. It carries the atmosphere of a dead town frozen in time, where the remaining residents, mostly elderly, live at a very slow pace under the fading shadow of past glory. Walking through its downtown reveals a dramatic scene. Rows of red brick commercial buildings stand empty, with wooden doors beginning to rot from moisture. The infrastructure collapse caused by nature and economics in Broadwater echoes the disaster trauma deeply felt in Boyd County, where Lynch still survives. This small farming town has long suffered from chronic population decline, but its fate reached a critical point in March 2019, when an extreme winter storm triggered historic flash flooding and massive ice jams from the Niobrara River, destroying levees and washing away much of the town's underground infrastructure. Although some residents tried to rebuild their community with what strength they had left, the physical scars from the force of water and ice remain clearly visible along the edges of Lynch. Several homes sit empty and tilted, with badly cracked foundations, surrounded by dry layers of hardened mud. From the flood trauma in Lynch, we move only a few miles within Boyd County to another town with a minimal population, Gross. Founded in 1893 with high hopes for economic growth from a planned railroad line, Gross faced a bitter reality when the tracks never passed through the area. A mass exodus quickly followed, shrinking the town from thousands of people to fewer than 5 to 10 residents today. The most fascinating and eerie sight in Gross centers on the Nebraska Land Inn, an old wooden lodging house from the early 20th century standing silently in the wide prairie. Around it, abandoned pioneer homes stand stiffly with badly peeling paint, surrounded by the heavy silence of the Great Plains. Leaving the silence of Gross, we reach a town shaped by disaster trauma. Locally called the Town Too Tough to Die, Pilger's fate changed drastically on June 16, 2014, when a rare pair of fast-moving twin tornadoes struck the heart of town, collapsing the school, leveling dozens of homes, and destroying the entire business district within minutes. Although rebuilding efforts have taken place, Pilger has not fully restored its demographic and psychological stability. A camera passing through town would capture wide, empty spaces where homes once stood, alongside new minimalist buildings that contrast with the surviving old architecture. Deep disaster trauma, combined with the continuing population decline after the tornado, creates a haunting sense of artificial silence in this town, fighting hard to avoid extinction. From tornado-struck Pilger, the journey takes us to Keith County, where the remote town of Keystone sits in silence. Surrounded by dry hills, this small town is known in local history for its unusual old combined Catholic-Protestant church, a practical solution created by 19th century settlers who lacked enough religious facilities in such an isolated area. Today, Keystone has lost nearly all domestic activity, becoming an extremely quiet, minimal rural settlement. Walking along its dirt roads creates a strong rural Gothic image. Old wooden houses stand in rows with dark, unlit windows, while rotting fence posts lean toward the ground. With no active commercial life, Keystone feels like a frozen historical installation, giving off a deep loneliness beneath the open skies of rural Nebraska. Moving back to far western Sheridan County, Hay Springs appears as a small town suffering from economic isolation and an aging population. Located along a dry high plains route, this town was once an agricultural rail stop, but it has watched its social assets die one by one because of the lack of population renewal and the absence of realistic industrial jobs for younger generations. Its physical landscape presents a worn rural town in structural decline. In its downtown district, rows of commercial buildings from the 1910s stands silent with thick dust on the windows and doors chained from the outside. Some homes on the edge of town appear abandoned, with yards filled with tall weeds, confirming the bitter reality that when a community loses its children, it slowly walks towards social death in the harsh Midwest environment. Our journey ends in Richardson County in southeastern Nebraska, where the farming ghost town of Salem still stands. Founded in the first half of the 19th century along the Nemaha River, Salem was once a prosperous trade center with grand Victorian homes owned by wealthy agricultural landowners. The collapse of the local commodity economy, combined with recurring floods, triggered a mass exodus that cut the town's population to fewer than 100 residents today. Now, Salem presents a dramatic and troubling rural post-apocalyptic scene. Along its main street, rows of once grand Victorian homes stand partly collapsed, their roofs caved in, allowing wild trees to grow inside former living rooms. The windows of commercial buildings are shattered above sidewalks, badly cracked and overtaken by thorny brush, creating a thick and eerie atmosphere.